G'day guys, welcome to the preview of My Blue Heaven. I'm looking forward to having a bit of a talk about this one. There's no doubt the AFL head honchos will be looking for a pay rise based on the fact that this game, when they put it in the fixture late last year and made the decision to put Essendon and Carlton on, you can't go wrong with Essendon and Carlton, but I don't think any of us would have thought that Essendon would have been second on the ladder coming into the mid-season bye. I think that's all a bit of a surprise. I think the AFL knew that we were coming, and I think most pundits would have thought that we would have been, okay, inside the top 8, pressing top 4, whatever that may be, even inside the top 4. So it was always going to be a safe bet to have two big rival Melbourne clubs at the MCG on King's birthday eve, but not to this magnitude, not with this build-up, not with this significance, not with what's on the line coming into the mid-season. They wouldn't have. So this is like a bonanza. And as much as the build-up's been a little bit quiet, I feel like it's going to grow momentum, and it's just going to be fever-pitched come Sunday night. Huge crowd, sellout. They say 90,000 plus. For some reason, it never gets to that. I hope it does. But even 88,000, 87, 89,000 is just going to be unbelievable. And then the audience, so the audience watching it on TV will be huge. So all eyes are on this game. However, when that umpire bounces the ball at 7:20, gives it a good whack into terra firma and hopes like fucking hell that it goes straight up, the game is on. The game is on, and everything that has been said about this game, the narrative from the fans, the banter, the bullshit. Essendon don't deserve to be second on the ladder. And that's the train of thought from our fans. They're pretenders. Essendon are pretenders. Okay. Even the Essendon fans thinking that they're in for a hard night at the office. That is real. The talk is real. But it doesn't matter. That's just talk. It's just fucking talk. And even me talking right here right now about all of this just doesn't matter. Because all I know is Essendon, just like us, we're very much capable of beating Essendon on Sunday night, but vice versa, they're more than capable. Not just capable, more than capable. Then if you want to look at the odds, the fact that we are not necessarily red-hot favourites, but firm favourites to win this game, they're more than capable of causing somewhat of a surprise or an upset. And if you think they're not, then I don't think you're watching the game closely enough. But that's just my observation. So I'm not buying into this Essendon don't deserve to be there. Essendon are pretenders. Essendon are front runners. Okay, I just don't. I reckon they're really well led. Okay, Zach Merritt is not only a super player, but I reckon he's a very good captain. And I think the coach, as much as he can grate on you, okay, with his flared nostrils and his whinging and whining at times, he's combative, and he will feed. There's no doubt he will feed off the naysayers and the people who are questioning his football team. And he will feed on it, and he will have his lads fired up for this contest. There's no doubt. But vice versa, Voss will have our boys fired up as well. So it will be on like fucking Donkey Kong, as they say, in the classics. But once the game goes, Voss says it, you've got to execute. You've got to execute everything. And it starts with contest and pressure, which has been our strong point now for a good 12 months, and it's always been a strong point on Michael Voss. That's his bread and butter. That's what he preaches to these boys, regardless of how we've improved on transition or scoring from turnover and our ball use and all that type of stuff. We are a contest and pressure type football team, and we need to be able to bring that, because what Essendon are very good at is not necessarily something that we are still building with. I listened to a very, very good interview this morning with Jai Caldwell, the Essendon midfielder, on SEN. And I think it was Tim Watson asked him after a game, whether win, lose or draw, what does the team measure themselves on first and foremost? What is the number one indicator? And he said straight away, for them it is time and possession. He didn't mention contest and pressure. I think our response from our players would be, what do you measure yourself on? We would say contest and pressure. He said our number one measurement is time in possession. I feel like we're not necessarily poles apart, but I feel like our strength of contest in pressure, if it's on, will cause problems for Essendon in regards to trying to play their game on their own terms in regards to time and possession. And number third in the comp for possessions, and number third in the comp for inside 50s. That inside 50s, which is very good, they're better than ours, inside 50s, doesn't necessarily translate to scores. They've got the worst percentage at the moment inside the top 8. 102.8 is their percentage. You look at Sydney Swans is 150. Ours is building at 108, even Fremantle 121. So they have been really solid defensively, which might surprise a few. But the question mark for Essendon is whether they, at the moment, are in, regardless of the fact that they're second on the ladder, whether they're in good enough form based on their midfield and based on that ability to basically deny us. So they've got to win it at the source first, but once they get it, are they in good enough form to keep the ball off it, to retain it if our pressure is on? So that makes it a fascinating contest, because we know with this Essendon team that when they have the game, okay, on their own terms, they have got good ball users, particularly out their back half. Well, not... Yeah, I mean, Martin's a terrific ball user. McGrath can be suspect at times, but they generally make really good decisions. I mean, Merritt's an outstanding ball user. Caldwell makes good decisions by foot as well, and they like to hang on the ball. I wouldn't call it so much a game of keeping Joff, but ball in hand, they are really, really solid. But they don't necessarily translate that with their dominance inside 50 to scores. So they've had some personnel issues in their front half. I mean, 2 metre Peter copped that suspension for a period of time, which really hurt them. But they don't generally get bang for buck for their dominance with ball in hand. So that makes it a very, very interesting contest. So we will need to be fucking on in regards to our pressure and contest. And you would think given what's at stake in this game. I mean, let's just look at the ladder. They're on 34 points. We're on 32. We just jumped them. Okay? And I could not give a fuck about the talk about whether they deserve to be there or not. And we deserve to be higher. That, to me, is insignificant, because really, you know what is what will determine, okay, whether we deserve to be there and they deserve to be below us, is us performing on the night. And as far as I'm concerned, once that ball is bounced in this game, it's a 50-50 contest. And that's the way I see it. All this fucking hoo-ha, and it's supporter shit. All this hoo-ha about their pretenders, I'm just not buying into that, because I just think on their night and on their day And given their consistency, I know they're not in super form, but before the weekend's loss, and it wasn't a horrific loss against the Gold Coast Suns, most teams will struggle up there this year on the Gold Coast. They only got beaten by 12 points. They had more scoring shots. They didn't play great football, but they've been a super consistent football team who've really built their game, okay? Not just, as I said, time and possession, but they've really bought into the defensive side of the game and they've really tightened up their defence. So they're no longer that team that just score really fluently and really put scoreboard pressure on, but leak goals. They make it really tough for you to score. It's not that I'm scared or anxious about this game if it's close, but they do have some clutch players as well who step up in big moments, including their skipper, Jakey Stringer, as well is a player that loves the big stage. Kyle Langford. I want all their good players to play, and I know he's under an injury cloud coming into this game. Kyle Langford went off last week against the Gold Coast Suns with a hip injury. He's a test to play. I think he's a fine footballer in a really difficult matchup. A part of me wouldn't want him to play because he is a very good player, but he's the type of bloke that can step up in big moments and kick goals, particularly when it's late. Same with Jade Gresham and Matt Guelphy. So they do have clutch players who can step up. So this game's close. I think we'll all be a little bit nervous. But if our contest and pressure is on, it's going to be very difficult for Essendon to get the game on their own terms, and we could make life very, very tough for them. I don't think they're coping too well with some of their good players out. They'll lose Redmond. I think it's really important for them. It allows one of either McGrath or Nick Martin, who they've played down back this year and across the wing, but mostly down back. It allows one of them to be a real attacker. And it used to be Redmond, the sole sort of not sole rebounding defender, but he was the one that really gave him a lot of dash. Having him out puts more of an onus on those other two, and it means we can put a lot more energy and time into a McGrath or a Nick Martin. So I think Redmond's a big out. Langford will be a huge out if he doesn't play. Nate Caddy will probably come in for his second game. He was out with illness last week. Duursma was starting to find some form on a wing. He's just a really hard running winger. I think they miss him. Draper, as much as a messy and frustrating football for Essendon, I think they like his energy and his toughness around the stoppages. And there's no doubt that since he went out, I might be wrong, him and Parrish and Hobbs not there as well. They've just lacked a little bit of real grunt. It's sort of come down to Sam Durran, who's really sort of holding that together. So yeah, I don't think they're coping too well with a never increasing sort of injury list. So whereas feels like we've got to the other side of that, although we haven't got a lot of the players back. Feels like we've built stability with the players we've had to play, and they're now starting to find their feet. Is that the way you see it? And I'm talking guys like Chincotta. I know Fogarty's come back into the football team, but guys like Kemp is really starting to find his feet. Cowan's starting to find his feet. He's got opportunities because Williams has gone forward. That's just been a masterstroke of a move as well. So I am really confident in this game, but at the same time, I'll keep saying it. Once that ball's bounced, all the talk about Essendon, about them not deserving to be there, is just insignificant as far as I'm concerned. They get a sniff in this game, a real sniff in this game, and they're close enough. Fuck, they are more than capable, which makes it from a just a neutral point of view a mouth-watering contest. It really does. I don't think Durden or Motlop are doing enough in the VFL. In fact, they've been really underwhelming. I know Durden only played he's been out for a couple of weeks from the seniors. He didn't play the first week he was omitted, but he played on the week against Preston, kicked 1 goal, had 10 touches, just not influential enough. Out of form. Motlop, second game back. I think he went from 5 disposals in his first game back. Had a bit of midfield time in the last quarter against Preston last week. 8 touches, just not ready. Not ready at all. Pitnet's the one who, according to Michael Voss, trained, had the finger injury. I don't think he will play. I don't know. I feel like the contest and pressure for us in this game is going to be so super important. And I know Pitnet does give us that presence, does give us that upper hand, but TDK's just been so impressive as a sole ruckman. But he comes up against Todd Goldstein, who's back in the team. So every time TDK's been asked questions, with any ruckman, he's been up for the challenge. Goldstein, experienced customers at a weekend. He's had the week off, managed last week. Was he managed? I think he was managed, and he will be fresh. That's a tough ask for the kid against a really experienced campaigner. There's a part of me that wouldn't mind Pitnet in there if we're talking about pure grunt. Do Essendon have the speed that could worry us on transition? If that's a problem, maybe. Gresham's quick. Martin's quick. Not quite sure, but maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. Not quite sure. Whatever the team is for us, it will be what will be. Let's have a geezer at Essendon's team really quickly from last week. There will be a couple of changes. It's going to be a great matchup, isn't it, between Harry and his brother. Ben has been super, coming across from North Melbourne. Oh, he's been really good. He'll probably go to Charlie and then just make it a bit of an anticlimax, but you think he will spend time on his brother. Laverde is the one that you would think we could get a hold of, although we've said that in the past for defenders and they step up to the mark. But whoever gets Laverde will be the one we'll try and isolate. Ridley's a super player, intercept player. If he's allowed to come third man up, fucking good. He's really good player, Jordan Ridley. So could it be Zach Williams who takes him deep and really isolates him and not allow him to play the game on his own terms? Martin, McGrath are going to go alone, you would think, as those running half-back flankers without Mason Redman. Who they bring in, I'm not quite sure, to replace Redman. Setterfield's available, but do they have a replacement for a running defender? Heppel, Kelly have been playing sort of a little bit wing here and there. Durham's the one, super tough footballer in the middle. Will Cincotta go to him? I mean, everyone thinks that Cincotta might go to maybe a Zach Merritt or a Caldwell. But maybe he goes to Durham. He seems to be the heart and soul through that midfield. And then I mentioned their forward line. Peter Wright can be dangerous. Langford, we know, is very good. But Stringer's the one. Stringer's the one who, if allowed to get off the chain, can turn games. He's never out of a contest, Jake Stringer. Guelphy, hardworking. Perkins, hardworking. And Gresham, little bit of the icing on the cake, high possessions at a high half forward who can go into the midfield and has had a super season for them. Interesting one is you look at their Harrison Jones as a third tall, can be dangerous, marks the ball at its highest point. I think we can take care of him. Nick Cox playing on a wing or down back. Yeah, he's been okay. The interesting one's Nick Hind. He's gone from being a defender, running defender, to being a live wire forward and looks quite capable in that role. And wouldn't it be ironic if, given the talk around Adam Sard and the fact that he left the Essendon Football Club and Nick Hind and all that, whether Adam Sard spent some time on Nick Hind and what that looks like moving forward. Caldwell's a good player as well. Anyway, guys, that's a wrap. I'm pretty confident with this, but at the same time, confidence means fuck all unless our boys can get the job and bring that hunger and bring that energy and enthusiasm, which I'm sure they've got it in them. And I'm sure they know the importance of this game. Tell us what you think. Speak soon.